This is the Trade Radio Podcast, brought to you by NAB, proudly fortifying Australia since 2002.
And Greg Swann, who's the CEO of the Brisbane Lions, joins us now. Greg, welcome back to Trade Radio.
Morning, boys. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Alan Christensen's name has been suggested in the last couple of hours that he wants to head to Queensland. Are the Brisbane Lions in negotiations with Alan Christensen, his manager, or the Geelong Football Club?
Well, I'm actually in Brisbane, and I only sort of got wind of this early this morning. So it's very early days, boys. But obviously, if you wanted to come this way, we'd be very, very interested.
Did you get wind via media or via his management?
Via his management.
Okay, so we'll believe that he's heading that way. If you're able to satisfy Geelong and get, obviously, Alan Christensen, who's a quality midfielder, into the Brisbane Lions, would it maybe make you a little more comfortable in giving up a midfielder to Collingwood to try and get the Dayne Beams deal done?
No, that doesn't change. I mean, look, we view these things as separate deals. I mean, from our point of view, we're looking to add to our list. We don't want to be sort of just swapping blokes in and out, and that's not going to help us. But look, as I said, it's seriously, it's very, very early days. I don't even know whether Geelong know this is happening or whether what their thoughts are. And look, there's obviously the Gold Coast would be in the mix as well, I assume, if he just wants to go to Queensland. And to be perfectly honest, we haven't got 100% of the detail as to why and what's happening there. So we've got a little bit of work to do. But on the surface, he's a seriously good player, and we'd love to have him if everything else works out. So
the manager didn't suggest to you as to why he might be wanting to head to Queensland, which obviously he's not from. So he just rang up and said, "Alan Christensen, would you be interested?" Yeah,
look, he didn't ring me, but he rang Peter Schwab,
yep.
and so I've only got it sort of second hand, so I wasn't privy to that conversation. But there was just some talk that he's having suggested that he might want to come north. Yeah.
Tell you what, Swanee, it all looks pretty good if you can add Beams. You've already got Rich, Aish, Redden, Rockcliffe, Hanley, Zorko, and you got Christensen into that midfield. All of a sudden, we spoke about it before. It's not an elite midfield yet, but it's a possibility of being an elite midfield once they all start playing together.
Yeah, look, I think and there's still a lot of water to go under the bridge, Brownie, before it happens. But if they were all in that team, it'd be it should be a really good team. I mean, last year, obviously with Richie missing and a few other, Leuenberger, so they come back in as well. And then, from the mids, Jack Redden missed pretty much the last half of the season. Yeah, and if you brought Dayne Beams and Christensen in and mixed them in with those other guys, as you said, Tommy Rockcliffe and Pierce Hanley and Dayne Zorko as well, we'd have a bit of depth anyway, which would be really good. And obviously that's what you need in the comp these days. So our midfield would be very strong.
Well, the water to go under that bridge is obviously Dayne Beams and the deal. Pick 5 has been brought up by the Brisbane Lions, and Collingwood probably want a little bit more from that. Has that progressed over the last week?
Look, one good thing is we've kept the dialogue going, and we have been talking to Collingwood. They've been a little bit sidetracked. They've had another couple of deals going. I think obviously the Greenwood one's sort of public, and I think they're into maybe one or two others, and so their focus has been a little bit on that. But we've been talking, and look, we understand that we've got to offer a little bit more from a picks point of view, but we don't have any players. Like, we think it's way overs anyway. The quality of the players that Collingwood have asked for, as well as pick 5, we just think that's not going to happen. But we've looked at maybe offering another, a second round pick and doing some things with that, and so we'll see where we end up. But hopefully we can get closer and hopefully we can get it done in the next before next Thursday.
Greg,
Purdy wants it by next Friday, but anyway, whenever we get it done, we'll get it done.
Just on that deadline, that 5 p.m. deadline that was given out, is that Melbourne time or is that Queensland time?
It's a very good point. It's only 9:30 here, so
yes.
9:25. So
I'd hate for Dayne Beams not to be a football club because you were on Brisbane time and you're an hour late.
Our blokes are in Melbourne. No, look, we'll see. I mean, Purdy rang about that and said, look, they won't talk to us after 5 o'clock on Friday, but look, that's their call. That's we'll just see how we go. We might be close by then, so we might get an extension. You never know.
So, could you toss up pick 5 and pick 25. Do you think that would get the deal done for Collingwood?
Yeah, maybe. And look, and that's something that we've sort of spoken about and put on the table as well, and just then and see where that takes us. But yeah, that'll probably be available, and we'll work through some other things there as well. Maybe some swaps of picks later on as well.
And I know it's just come up, but if you were to use pick 5 and pick 25, does that make it really hard to attract Christensen, albeit you've only really just found out about it?
Yeah, maybe. And look, and as I said, no one's, we haven't even had a conversation with Geelong because we don't even know, as I said, where it sits, and I don't know what they'd be thinking, and then again, that might just be that we mightn't be able to do that deal, so we have to walk away. But there's a couple of other things for us that are bubbling around in the background as well, with Joel Patfull and maybe going to GWS. So we might be able to get something there that might be able to swing across. But look, as I said, it's very, very early days.
Are we thinking maybe a third team will need to be involved to get the Dayne Beams deal done?
Not necessarily. I mean, it just depends. We've not done that. We're just sort of trying to do it directly. So, look, as I said, those picks, 25 might go somewhere else to get another player, but at this stage, we're trying to deal directly with Collingwood.
With the Alan Christensen situation popping up, is there a chance that you'll say, all right, to Collingwood, this is what you're going to do, you're going to play hardball, good luck keeping him, you can have him for 12 more months, we'll back ourselves in for 12 months and we'll get Alan Christensen in and we'll try and get Dayne Beams in 12 months' time when he's out of contract? Yeah,
look, I think all those conversations get had. One thing, that's clear from, and certainly if I was Collingwood, I'd be saying the same, he is a contracted player, so if the deal doesn't get done, he stays at Collingwood, and they'll have to talk him around and get him back, and then who knows, maybe they go through the same scenario next year with him trying to get out, but then he won't be contracted. But that's something for Collingwood to assess. He wants to come, and he wants to come now. So look, we're trying to get a deal done, and at the minute we're a little bit apart. But as I said, we're talking, so it's not like we've hung up on each other and not spoken for a while. So we're still talking.
You spoke about Joel Patfull, two-time best and fairest winner, probably the key pin in your back end. What would you like to get out of the Greater Western Sydney if that is his destination?
Yeah, look, it's a hard one. He finished third in our best and fairest this year as well, so he won the two before that. So and we don't exactly have a million tall defenders, so he's pretty important to us. So it'd have to be something, pretty good for us to deal on that. But we understand he's contracted as well, but. He wants to live in Sydney once his time in footy's up. So if there was an opportunity to go there earlier, he's happy to do that. But if not, he's happy to stay. So we've just said to GWS that it'd have to be something pretty good. Something in the 20s, I think.
Daniel Merritt's been linked with every other club almost in the last 2 weeks. Where does he sit?
Yeah, it's a strange one. He'll be staying here. Even on our roadshow on Monday. No one really came at him. It's just been a strange situation. He's got 2 years to go. We hadn't long redone him, and it sort of just got put out there that it was interested, and people were interested, and we were interested in doing something. But at this stage, there's not much interest or none, and we want him to stay, so he'll stay. I think. So.
Would you at all be willing to maybe offer him up for Alan Christensen?
Look, we haven't even spoken about that. I'm not sure Geelong would do that. And that's a long. I don't know. No, we haven't even thought about it. We haven't even discussed it. There's a lot of work to be done before Alan.
Yep.
We even get to where we need to get to there.
So Daniel Merritt wants to stay at Brisbane.
No, he does. Left has spoken to him. He's contracted. His wife's just had a baby. He lives here. He's from here. He's more than happy to stay. So, as I said, it sort of got floated early in the piece that, he was going to look for a new home, and but nobody's come to us with any deals or, any real interest in it. So we'll just let that go.
Mitch Robinson's been a player that's been linked to the Brisbane Lions. Is there any interest in getting him to your football club?
Look, I think that came about because Schwabby spoke to him, but that's the list manager's job. I think he spoke to quite a lot of players that were sort of out or perhaps tradable, or so that's all. That's as far as that's gone at this stage. So look, at this stage, we're certainly not talking to Carlton about Mitch, but so that we'll just let that sit. But there's a lot of other things to happen before it's all done. But at this stage, we're not talking to him or his management at this stage. No.
How do you go when you have to talk to your old footy clubs that you've worked for? Is it easier because you know the way they work, or is it harder because of you've left and there's a bit of a divide there?
Yeah, it's a good point. In the main, you let someone else do it, probably because of that. They don't want to think that you've got one over them, or you don't want to think they've got one over you. So it doesn't get personal, but it's just a bit awkward. But no, if that was to go anywhere, then Schwabby would do all that. Oh, look, and he does it anyway, but he would do all those things, negotiations and the like, and I just sit back and listen.
Swanny, how disappointed were you that Melbourne got pick number 3, free agency for James Frawley? You guys go down to 5. I mean, it's not a huge deal. I mean, it's one pick, but in the whole scheme of it, do you see it being fair?
Look, I had my say last week. I must admit, I'm a bit confused as to the formulas, and I think quite a few people in footy are, because we hear about terms of contract and ages of players and how much money they're getting paid, but it doesn't seem to stack up. That you've got a Buddy Franklin who was roughly the same age, got paid a bucket load of money, and Hawthorn got 17, and the Demons got 3. So it's not apparent how it works. I suppose that would be my issue from here. But look, it's done, it's dusted. Good luck to them, and it's a good pick, and they'll obviously either get a good player or get a good trade from it. So good luck to them.
Do you think it's time to review the free agency compensation though on the back of this? And you weren't the only one. You weren't the only one who suggested it.
No, I understand that. I mean, look, our position, or my position all the way through, is you shouldn't get compensation at all. I mean, if it's a free agent and they walk, that's just how it is, But that's another discussion. But that's probably, and again, there's quite a few who think the same thing, because it is a little bit unfair for those around that pick that you just get shuffled back in the order when you actually haven't got anything to do with the deal, or you haven't. And it could be the difference. I mean, one of the recruiting mantras is if you've got pick 5, they'll say there's 4 good players, and if you've got pick 4, they'll say there's 3 good players. But in this case, there might be 4 good players, and you get pushed back a spot that or 4 players that you like, and you get pushed back a spot through no fault of your own, and you can't get one. So it's it just makes it. I think it penalises those around where that pick gets given more than probably the AFL understand.
Has it hampered at all the Dayne Beams discussions?
No, not really, because it is what it is. I mean, we all sort of knew that would probably happen. I mean, look, you're right. Pick 4 to pick 5, it's not a massive deal, but it's still a great pick. So I mean, it's not. It's a very, very early pick. So it hasn't really had a massive impact on the discussion. No.
Greg, before we do let you go, though, and obviously the Alan Christensen one, it's fresh and there's plenty of water to go under the bridge, but if he was to say he wanted to come to the Brisbane Lions, that must give you a fair bit of confidence that you're tracking in the right direction as a club, in consideration that the last couple of years there have been some guys who put their hand up to want to go home. This guy reportedly wants to come, if he does want to come to your football club, must feel pretty good.
Yeah, look, it has, and that's something that obviously, look, and I've only been up here for a few months, so it's something that the club worked really hard on before I got here about retention and making this an attractive place to come, because there was obviously a big review done when 4 or 5 kids left last year, and so they've made the place really a really good place to be. And it started, I suppose, with Paddy Ryder initially when he said he was happy to come up here, and now obviously Dayne Beams has said the same, and from all reports Alan's happy to come to Queensland as well. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's one of those ones that when you talk to the young guys that are here, they just think that we have got a massive advantage being up here in that the weather's unbelievable. You walk around pretty much anonymous. There's not the pressure of what what it is in Melbourne, and if you want to, if that's your style, that you want to be pretty laid back, not have too many people know who you are, and play good footy in weather that's 28, 29 every day up here in winter. It's a fantastic place to be. So maybe that's had a bit to do with it. Who knows?
No doubt. It's definitely it's a good confidence booster for your football club. Before we let you go, Greg, and we are joined by Greg Swann, the CEO of the Lions, all thanks to Cabot's Aqueduct. Do you know, have the Giants actually offered a contract to Joel Patfull, or is that still to play out?
No, look, I think they've certainly had discussions with his manager, so I'm assuming that the discussions would be certainly in general terms that if he comes here, what's the deal look like? But no, I don't. You'd have to ask them that. I don't know that.
Last week when you joined us, mate, you got something off your chest regarding the Frawley compensation pick, and we enjoyed it. You got anything this week you want to just let the AFL know you're not overly happy about?
No. We're all happy in the service here now. We, as I said, no, it was one of those things that. It was more the way it was happening that, there was lines along the, lines coming from out, so everybody in the comp agrees we should get pick 3, and I just thought, no, that's not right. We don't.
And you weren't alone for what transpired a couple of days after it, mate.
That's right.
We always do appreciate your time on NAB Trade Radio, and we wish you luck with Beams, maybe with Christensen, and to make sure that the Brisbane Lions continue to put together a very impressive list, and we'll talk again real soon.
Thanks, guys.